some of these things that you create with this biotechnology, you know, war machines and
Right.
things like that, I'm not sure if that's really very easy for us to kind of imagine. So you actually have a little bit of help in that area because there's
Exactly.
illustrations. Can you tell me about the illustrations in the book?
Right. Well, one of the things I wanted to do is make it feel like you were reading this book in 1914. And of course, all books in 1914 were illustrated. Even if they were for adults, you know, if you bought War of the Worlds or, you know, Sherlock Holmes compilation, they would be illustrated. And the book, and then the novels like Dickens and stuff that were being, from earlier, that were being serialized in the paper also had illustrations. So this whole idea that books shouldn't have illustrations is a modern travesty that I'm trying to correct a little bit.
We'll
So,
fix it, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So when I started this book, I went and found this wonderful Canadian artist named Keith Thompson, and found him on the internet, like everybody does these days. And he's just a genius at capturing the style of the Edwardian illustrator. Like he did this wonderful research process where he read Punch magazine for you know, like for all of 1914, and sort of recreated that style. And there are these wonderful things where you break the frame. You know, there's always one element of the picture that breaks out of the frame, and that, you know, that incredible sort of almost etching-like detail he's captured, and they're just marvelous. And the great thing about him is he's good at machines, and like sort of fantastical, crazy machines, but he's also good at animals. You know, sort of ripply, strange, muscled creatures like the living airship itself, the Leviathan, is one. But there's also these wonderful, I call them lupine tigeresques. They're half wolf, half tiger that Darren runs into at one point. There are these one-person balloons called Huxley Ascenders, named after Huxley, who was Darwin's bulldog. You know, he was the guy who debated for Darwin, and he was also an expert in jellyfish. That was his day job when he wasn't being an evolutionist. And Keith created this wonderful one-person ascender, which was like a balloon made out of jellyfish that Darren gets to go up into at one point. And I sort of went crazy with the, you know, we sort of collectively went crazy with the illustrations. There's actually 50 interior pieces of art. So, you know, it's really something that hasn't been done. But it's a complete novel at the same time. It's not like a graphic novel where there's only a small amount of text. It's a regular 400-page novel with 50 pages of art. So it's kind of something that hasn't really been done since the 1920s. I can't think of many other examples at all.
When you were writing it, did you write the story and then hand it off to him, and through the writing it, he designed these different creatures and what they look like, or was it a more organic where he would come in before and you would talk about it? How did the evolution of these strange machines?
Well, it started out that way because I already had probably 16,000 words, you know, maybe 60 pages. And, you know, the usual model for this sort of thing is you write the whole book and you hand it to an illustrator and say, illustrate this, this, and this. But we were doing too many pieces for that. I mean, it would take another year because he's almost working, you know, he's working on it a whole year just like I am. So so basically it became more like when you do comic books. You know, you may hand off a month at a time to the artist, but you're still going in that same story when the art starts to come back and he's only, you know, a little bit behind you. So what happened was I was starting to get influenced by his art. You know, I would see the characters before I was done with the actual first book. I was, you know, maybe a third of the way in, and suddenly I'm starting to see the characters. I'm starting to see the machines and realize, and the wonderful part about the collaboration is that he actually knows more about this stuff than I do. He's a better researcher when it comes to Victoriana and Edwardiana. And he, and also in a funny way, he has to understand how big something is. Like, I'll maybe fudge it a little bit as a novelist because I might want it to be bigger later or smaller, and I'm not quite sure necessarily what everyone's wearing in every scene because you're just, you know, you're describing what you need to describe, but he has to know everything. So he's
not only the characters, but the background, the setting, the environment.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I can just say, you know, the person has a pistol, whereas he knows it's a Steyr 1908, you know, Austrian-made pistol, the kind that officers liked. I mean, it's been really fun. One of the cool things that is also in all of the end papers are in color. So we have this wonderful allegorical map of Europe that that the kids can refer to, the geography-challenged American kids.
Yeah, I was going to say, where's
the Ottoman Empire?
Was an island, you know, like, no, it's Austria, yeah.
Exactly. So, and obviously, you know, the non-geography challenged among us love maps anyway. Mm-hmm. So Keith created this wonderful color map of Europe that's like in 1914, they always had these allegorical maps where you had, you know, like Russia is a bear. and so Germany is a machine because it's a clanker country, and England is a sailor, or Scandinavia is made of trolls. So they were teaching maps for sort of illiterate people to look at back in 1914 and know who the good guys and the bad guys were. So the end papers are going to be in color in all the books. We're going to have some sort of map, kind of propaganda map, to go along with it. So it's it's like being an art director and a novelist at the same time. I'm having so much fun. It's great.